I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed. So show me family, all the blood that I will bleed. I don't know where I belong. I don't know where I went wrong, but I can write a song. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart. I belong with you, you belong with me, you're my sweetheart.
Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for joining our 7th event. We've had 6 events live, and this is our first attempt at a virtual event. If Tara was here, the first thing she would say is how much she wants to thank everybody for making this event tonight. The donors, the people who produced this event, and the committee. It was a monumental effort to get this done this year, and we want to thank everybody because this was a difficult year to do this. Each year I give a financial report, which is really fairly simple. We have an audit statement. Last year we raised $884,000. We gave every dollar to research. So there's no expenses, no administration fees. The whole amount went to research. So far this year in this event, we've raised over $500,000. And to anybody who donates during the next hour going into this event, Debbie and I have decided to match all donations in the next hour. It's important to understand where the program's going. It's an hour. But we're going to talk about the essence of Tara. We're going to talk about the research funded. We're going to talk about what that research did for particular people and hear from a couple of those people. We have a very special person speaking that will drive home the fact that melanoma can get anybody, any place, anytime. And we're going to drive home the fact, we hope, that we have to save the other 50% of the people. So to that end, we're going to toast Tara tonight. We're going to keep the program to an hour.
We did think it was important to share with you all, though, why we chose today, October 14th, to toast Tara for this event. It was 6 years ago today that we shared our last toast with Tara in her room, which is right over there. And that day, the hospice nurse had told us at around 4:30 that it would happen soon. She told us it seemed like Tara was waiting for something, though. And Christy joked that it was Tara, and she was, of course, waiting for 5 o'clock for one last toast. Christy got a bottle of wine that Tara had put in the fridge for the next celebration. And she poured 5 glasses, and we shared that last toast with Tara. Just a few minutes later, Tara passed away. We opened the door to her room, and her room overlooks the back bay here in Longport, and dolphins were jumping right outside of our house, which dolphins jumping in the back bay in October is pretty rare. So we had to think that it was a sign from Tara that things would be okay. Right after that, it was followed by a beautiful pink sunset, which was just another sign from Tara. Since that special last toast with Tara, every month on the 14th, no matter what we're doing, we stop and share a toast to Tara. So for 72 months, every month we've toasted, and every year on October 14th, we do something that Tara would have loved. And we know tonight she would love that we're sharing this toast with all of you and really making a difference.
We can't say thank you enough. Without the support that we've had from this community, the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation wouldn't be what it is. And luckily she got to see a large part of the community step up. It's a little bittersweet this year for us because we love seeing everyone, and unfortunately we can't be in person this year. So if anyone, or if everyone's willing to share, if you can tag the foundation or hashtag toasting Tara so we can see how everyone's toasting tonight, that would be great. Now we're actually going to toast Dr. Lynn Schuchter, who needs no introduction, is going to be joining us for this. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
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 Cheers to Tara. Making the best of it.
To Tara. Thank you so much for letting me briefly join. It's so nice to see the Miller family. I'm Dr. Lynn Schuchter, and I miss all of you. I had the honor of caring for Tara and knowing her message and her story. And I want to thank all of you. I just can't believe what you and this community have raised. It is making such a difference to invest in research and really advancing the cure. And so the next part of this program is to really share the story of Tara. And I hope that you enjoy this video. And I love seeing the Miller family. I can see them, and I'm doing another little cheer to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
This past July, everything was going pretty well for me. I had recently passed both the New Jersey and PA bar exams after having to defer law school for a year in 2008 when I needed 3 spinal surgeries unrelated to cancer. I was clerking for a judge I loved working with and was learning so much in a career I spent years working towards. Then, on July 10th, 2013, I got the phone call no one ever expects to get, and my life instantly changed. As Dan told me, I became a member of a club nobody ever wants to be a part of. At 28 years old, I became a cancer patient.
Tara was diagnosed with melanoma when we were 28 years old, and it was July 10th, 2013. She was determined from the very beginning to make the best of it. She took it seriously. She researched every treatment, and the more she researched it those first couple weeks and she learned about, really the severity of melanoma and the treatment options available, she knew that there was a lack of treatments and a lack of research, and she wanted to do something about that. Tara started her blog mainly for us, because she knew how hard it was for us to talk about it and to give people updates, and she wanted to just take the pressure off and make it easier on us. But in doing that, she kind of unknowingly introduced herself to a world of people who she's left a lasting impression on. And I think one of the most unique things about her blog was that she had a way of writing it in such detail that made you really understand what was going on, and you wanted to kind of cry as you're reading it, because what she's going through is devastating. But somehow you kind of end the post and you're laughing with how she's explaining it or what she's talking about, and it's just, it was this incredible way she had about her. She posted this picture of her head screwed into a box and said, "I'm literally screwed."
Tara was probably the most informed, researched person about her cancer and all the treatments, but she still wanted to be a 28-year-old girl that was just having fun.
During her first surgery, she was making the best of it in the most Tara way possible, and she was shopping with my mom as they were waiting to go back for surgery, and she found this shirt that said, "I'd rather be shopping," and it kind of started this theme of her battle, which was having the perfect shirt for every surgery and procedure, and just making it funny and fun, and broke the ice a little bit and brought some humor in and took the tension out of things.
It just brought light to the most serious of matters, and that's what Tara did. She could find the silver lining and the humor, even though she knew how serious everything was.
A week after she got out of the hospital from her first brain surgery, and less than 2 weeks coming out of the surgery, she went to our friend's wedding, and she looked amazing, and she kind of was just, this is my life.
When Tara coined the phrase, #make the best of it, she truly believed it. That was her motto. She wasn't going to let cancer define her. She was going to live her life to the fullest and have fun and make sure people around her have fun.
An example of Tara's determination was when we were in Houston, before she started her proton therapy, they were telling her that she wouldn't be able to eat spicy food, she wouldn't be able to drink alcohol, all the things that she wasn't going to be able to do, and all the horrible side effects. And she asked them, "Well, is there a legitimate reason why I can't drink alcohol other than it's going to hurt?" And the doctor looked at her and said, "Are you a lawyer?" And she said, "As a matter of fact, I am." And then the last day before we left Houston, she went out for lunch and she had a margarita with salt and a fajita.
It was at the Britney Spears concert where she ran her hands through her hair and she had a whole clump of hair in her hand, and our friends all just looked and we weren't really sure what was going to happen or how she would react, and Tara just looked at it and she laughed and she said, "How ironic, what better place to lose your hair than a Britney Spears concert? Who appreciates being bald more than Britney?" And that was that. And then when she wrote about it on her blog, she made a joke that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and her hair stayed in Vegas.
People frequently play the game, what if? What if I knew I wasn't going to make it and I was going to pass away? Well, Tara was faced with that, and her choice was, at 29 years old, in lieu of traveling or buying things, her choice in life was to start a foundation.
Tara realized there was a lack of effective treatment options, and that was due to a lack of research for melanoma. And she was faced with impossible decisions and weighing treatment options, and that's why she decided to start this foundation. And she made it really clear that despite her outcome, She wanted us to wholeheartedly continue her mission to find a cure and to change the odds for everyone who would come after her. So I think she would be blown away. We've raised a little over $4 million that's all gone to melanoma research, and I think she would also tell us that there's a lot of work to do. I mean, when she was alive and she got diagnosed, the odds were about 20% of patients were living past a year. And now that number is 50%, which is huge progress, but it's not enough, because that means that 50% still aren't making it.
We're still leaving 50% of the people behind. So it's nothing more than a coin flip, whether or not you're going to get better or you're going to pass. Tara would say, we must continue with our efforts to raise money for research to make the odds better for the other 50%.
When Dr. Schuchter said to her, like, what you're doing is extraordinary, Tara didn't understand why. Tara just thought, this is a problem, we have to solve it, I'm going to start a foundation, I'm going to raise money for research. But she never understood that just in how she was living her daily life and her motto to make the best of it and how her blog was inspiring people. She never fully understood the impact that she made on everyone whose lives she touched.
Hello everyone, I'm Lacey Adams. My husband is United States Surgeon General Jerome Adams. 3 months after moving to DC for my husband's appointment in 2018, I was diagnosed with stage 3 melanoma. I had surgery to remove lymph nodes and followed up with a year of immunotherapy, specifically Opdivo, a PD-1. This treatment was fairly new back then, and I was fortunate to be able to have this option instead of other traditional harder to tolerate treatments. Immunotherapy was a miracle to me. I was able to fight my cancer while living my life feeling almost normal. It's truly a game changer in the cancer world. Unfortunately, this year, we found out that after 14 months of completing immunotherapy and having clear scans, my melanoma has returned and has mutated. I was amazed and relieved to hear that because of research in the recent years, I had options that were not even available just 2 years before. I am starting Yervoy and Opdivo. This is a combo treatment of immunotherapy that was just approved. This experience has given me hope that even if I'm fighting this horrible disease again, that there is always research going on, making treatment options better and better. Ultimately, I want the researchers to find a cure though, so people like me don't have to live our lives always worrying about the next time. And seeing the advances they have made in just a few years, I'm extremely optimistic that this is going to happen.
Funding research and, hearing about the progress is one thing, but when it all came into perspective for us was 2 years ago when we got a message from a girl about our age who said, she sent a message and said, thank you. I'm on immunotherapies today that were funded with research that you guys funded, and it's literally saving my life. So when Tara wanted to, make sure the next 28-year-old girl in her shoes didn't go through the same thing, that was the epitome of it.
I chose Tara because her selflessness and courage at such a trying time is really an inspiration to all of us. And she's given people like me a second chance at life, and I can't thank her or her family enough for that. And I think the most we can do is try to live life like she taught us and make the best of it. Funding is so important to me because I had treatment options that weren't available just a few years ago. And my immunotherapy likely saved my life. I can speak of, in my experience, I was one of the fortunate people who responded to the treatment. And there are a lot of instances where that doesn't happen. So we do have a lot more work to do.
From the beginning, Debbie and I decided to fund all of the costs associated with the foundation to ensure every dollar raised goes to research. So we will continue to fund all the expenses of the foundation so that every dollar received goes to research.
She has saved so many lives. We've gotten texts and emails from people saying that I'm alive today from treatment that I got because of what the Tara Melanoma Foundation has done. And all I can say is, this is so important, and we get up every day and we do this because we truly hope that someday we can say, no other parent will ever have to go through what we are going through, every day of our life.
We have the power to make cancer powerless and perhaps even end it, but it takes research and that requires funding. Cancer has taken some of the best among us, and it's time for us all to stand up and fight back.
In December, I spoke at Penn, and I led with a joke that I had to read my speech from my notes because I had recently had brain surgery. Well, the silver lining of having brain surgery as frequently as I do is you get to use the same excuse. As many of you may know, I had my third craniotomy in April. Then had 3 weeks of whole brain radiation and immediately started PD-1, all of which caused swelling in the brain, making my brain what I have eloquently termed, and even Dr. Schachter has adopted, fuzzy. So I apologize in advance if all of this doesn't come out perfectly. The truth is that this foundation is our way of making the best of it. According to statistics, 75% of stage 4 melanoma patients like myself are dead within a year of their diagnosis. I was diagnosed 11 months ago, and even after having somewhere around 14 brain tumors, yeah, I lost count, I know that those aren't good odds. I can't control those statistics, but part of making the best of it is accepting what I can't control and focusing on what I can control. So although we can't change what the statistics on melanoma have been, we chose to make the best of it and try to help change where they are going. Since being diagnosed, I am lucky enough to have benefited from what have been considered game changers in melanoma treatment options. Sometimes it feels like my medical record could also serve as a timeline of FDA approvals. I was literally finishing one treatment and waiting for the next drug to become available. That's because although these treatments are very groundbreaking, and I'm so thankful they're available, they are, in essence, short-term solutions to buy time. When one treatment is no longer effective, you have to hope the next is going to be available. So I don't really consider them game changers as much as extra innings. What I really want to do with this foundation is to help fund the research that will get us past just buying time and will hopefully provide a lifetime to melanoma patients.
As you just heard Tara say, she truly believed that funding research was the way to change the odds for patients who would come after her. Tonight, we think it's important to let you know where the dollars raised have gone over the last 6 years. We want you to hear from the two places we currently fund, Melanoma Research Alliance and the University of Pennsylvania's Melanoma Program. From MRA, you'll hear from Michael Kaplan, and from Penn, you'll hear from Dr. Lynn Schuchter and Dr. Bob Bonderheide, along with other researchers who have directly been funded by the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation. We hope you enjoy.
Good evening. I'm Michael Kaplan, President and CEO of the Melanoma Research Alliance, and I'm honored to be a part of this evening's program. I joined the MRA in June of 2016, a little less than 2 years after Tara had passed. And while I never had the honor to meet Tara directly, I do feel like I know a little bit about her. I feel like I know the drive, the kindness, the warmth, and the frame to make the best of it, not just because of the stories from family and friends, but because when one meets George, Debbie, Christy, or Lauren, it becomes clear. It's clear that these things that defined Tara were not just by chance, but the outcomes of a wonderful family. 13 years ago, the Melanoma Research Alliance was founded by Deborah and Leon Black. Deborah's own diagnosis of melanoma, along with a paucity of effective treatments at the time, drove them to start MRA. But they didn't just start it. They remain committed to this day to covering 100% of admin, development, and staffing costs so that 100% of contributions can go directly to research. Thanks to the help of so many funders, chief among them, the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation, we've been able to make real progress in melanoma. In the last decade, 13 new treatments have been approved by the FDA for metastatic melanoma, and the life expectancy has been greatly expanded for so many patients. Clearly, the advances we've made were not made soon enough to benefit Tara, but Tara's legacy is ensuring a different reality for so many other patients who face the same terrifying diagnosis. In just over 10 years, the 5-year survival for late-stage melanoma has gone from less than 10% to nearly 50% on some of the latest treatments. And in the less than 6 years since Tara has passed, the legacy she shaped in her fight against melanoma has been amplified by the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation. And like MRA, the Millers are committed to ensuring 100% of funds go directly to research. At MRA, we've been honored to partner with TMMF, who has supported 5 Young Investigator Awards to date, with a 6th one to be selected in spring of 21. Each of these awards, at $225,000, have been selected through a peer review process with renowned scientists from around the world and are actively managed to ensure coordination, collaboration, and real outcomes. And to be clear, the partnership with the Millers is not simply them just writing a check to MRA, but a much deeper engagement for which we are grateful. Each year, the family reviews the research that has made it through the peer review process and looks at what makes the most sense to fund in the context of Tara's own experience with melanoma. The family engages not just with MRA staff, but with the researchers they fund, and have become a regular fixture at our annual scientific retreat. These research awards have gone to top institutions around the world, to UCSF, to MD Anderson, to Tel Aviv University, to Penn and NYU. And while there's no way I can do justice to the research they have funded and all the outcomes achieved, I do want to spotlight just a bit of it here tonight. In Israel, TMMF has helped better understand brain metastases, funding research that has led to several new potential drug targets. In San Francisco, they're funding Dr. Hunter Shane, who is sequencing melanocytes in healthy skin, enabling us to better predict when melanoma may occur and to understand how cumulative sun damage leads to it. And at MD Anderson, they're funding Dr. Kunai Rai, who's studying molecular predictors for the efficacy of checkpoint immunotherapies. They're helping us understand what patients can benefit most from these treatments and identifying new targets to combine with these treatments for better outcomes. And the research being funded is not only making a difference in melanoma, but is mapping a plan forward in so many other cancers. In fact, the immunocheckpoint therapies first approved in melanoma have since been approved to treat well over a dozen other cancers. I'd like to close with where I began. While I missed the opportunity to ever meet Tara myself, I can see the bright star that she was in the gathering of all of you each year. And while we can't all be together this year in Atlantic City, know that the impact is the same, that together we are all helping to honor Tara's legacy in the fight against melanoma. George, Debbie, Christy, Lauren, thank you for sharing Tara with all of us, and thank you for helping to end suffering and death due to melanoma.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Vonderheide, and I'm the director of the Abramson Cancer Center at the University of Pennsylvania. It's an honor to be here with all of you tonight virtually, though I know we'd much rather be together in person. Thank you all for joining, and a special thank you to George, Debbie, Lauren, Christy, and Josh for continuing to make this important work a priority. I have thought about Tara often during this pandemic. That may sound strange at first, but her motto of finding the silver lining rings so true for me in these moments. While there is no denying that the challenges presented by the COVID pandemic I am incredibly proud of the entire Abramson Cancer Center community for stepping up and for finding some major silver linings. One of those that I wanted to share with this group tonight is due in large part to early funding from the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation, something we've now trademarked. We call it Immune Health. Immune Health involves complex profiling of millions of immune cells from every patient, allowing us to harness the immune system as a sensory organ to give us clues about the health of your immune system and how your immune system is reacting to a particular disease. The concept of immune health can be used to understand many kinds of diseases, both cancer and beyond, and including COVID-19. Immune profiling was propelled forward to the melanoma neoadjuvant study, which was funded by the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation. Much of what we learned from that study helped us inform a timely and an immediate pivot to understanding the immune system of patients with COVID. Penn is world leader in immunotherapy, and immune health monitoring is our next frontier. We have the potential to make visionary change. This kind of change for patients is what Tara envisioned. For decades, our melanoma program has been a national leader in advancing research and innovative care. And I have to applaud the unstoppable combination of Dr. Lynn Schuchter, her leadership team, and the support from the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation, and each of you. Personally, I am honored to have been one of the first researchers funded by the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation, and our ideas about combining immunotherapy with radiation are now in clinical trials. Every day, we work to live up to Tara's powerful mission and her tremendous expectations for us. And because of the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation's philanthropy, our teams have been able to work, collaborate, and translate scientific discoveries into clinical therapies. Philanthropy has allowed us to share our ideas, challenge each other, and work together to support investigators so that they can publish their work, get larger grants, and advance the research on and on. And our orders were very clear. It's our responsibility as physicians and scientists to honor Tara's legacy and carry out her call. And we will carry out her mission of discovery, and we will not rest until a cure is a guarantee for all. And for now, we toast Tara for giving us the ability to push the limits of our knowledge through research to bring an even better tomorrow. Thank you for letting me be part of tonight's virtual event, and I look forward to when we can all be together again in person.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Lynn Schuchter, and I'm the proud director of the Tara Miller Melanoma Center at the Abramson Cancer Center at the University of Pennsylvania. I'm so happy to be joining all of you tonight as we celebrate the life of Tara, and we recognize and celebrate the amazing contributions by all of you in support of the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation. This is not how we wanted to meet, but as Tara would tell us, we need to make the best of it. And so tonight with this virtual platform, we'll share our memories of Tara and raise funds to support an incredibly important initiative, the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation. When we gather during these special moments, I always think important for me to share with you Tara's story. I've been a medical oncologist for 30 years, but I can tell you when I first met Tara on that first visit, I knew that she was somebody so special. She came as a young woman, 28 years old, a beginning attorney, just with so much passion for life and so much knowledge about melanoma. And I just want to briefly share her story because many of you on tonight's toast, you may not have met her, but you've heard her story. So let me just briefly tell you. She noticed a changing mole on her forehead. It wasn't thought to be something of any significance. And then later she developed a lump in her neck. A biopsy was done which showed melanoma. And that led her journey to seek treatment and how I first met her. She came with a clear plan, and I had my marching orders, and we did embark on the most aggressive plan possible. And despite really the state-of-the-art treatments in terms of immunotherapy, targeted therapy, the melanoma traveled. It did involve her brain. She had to have multiple brain surgeries. received proton therapies, and despite the best therapies, the therapies stopped working. And 6 years ago tonight, Tara died from melanoma. But before she died, and what is another remarkable and special thing about Tara, is that she had the vision for the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation. She wanted to raise funds to find better cures for melanoma so that nobody had to go through what she went through nor what her family went through. She wasn't just trying to buy time for people. She wanted to buy a lifetime through investment in research. And so we have had at the Abramson Cancer Center and now at the Tara Miller Melanoma Center, her vision and really her passion and commitment for us to do our very best and to work hard and fight hard to find new advances. And that's what this amazing community has done. You have raised more than $4 million to support and invest in new ideas for melanoma research at our Abramson Cancer Center, but also through the Melanoma Research Alliance. It's amazing the impact. I don't think Tara could have imagined that her initial idea would blossom into such a powerhouse of research activity. But I think she galvanized all of us. She galvanized you, and many of you who haven't met her have heard her story. So I just am proud to lead a center that bears her name, but especially proud to have cared for such a special, courageous, funny, determined young woman. And I want to share with you the impact of your generosity and your research dollars. So your support has allowed us to pilot new ways of combining targeted therapy and bringing new agents to make these treatments more successful to more patients and for it to work longer. Your generosity has supported novel ways of developing personalized cancer vaccines. So developing a vaccine specific for that individual patient with melanoma. And importantly, you've provided the platform for a whole new way of providing treatment, this concept of neoadjuvant, giving treatment prior to surgery. And this work was based actually upon Tara's own samples, and it's led to a whole new way of approaching melanoma treatment, learning from each patient and starting therapy at a much earlier point. I don't think Tara could have imagined the impact of her vision and what you have all created. But it's not enough. The progress has been substantial. But tonight, it's the 6th anniversary of Tara's death, and we still need new therapy. So tonight's effort is both a celebration of her life, but also for us to continue our hard work. She was clear about what we were to do. We were to find more effective therapies for patients so they could have a lifetime. And tonight, that's what this is all about, celebrating Tara and ensuring that her legacy, new treatments, we're able to realize. I want to thank George and Debbie, Lauren and Josh, Christy, baby Taylor, for really bringing all of us into your family and your hearts. This has been such a remarkable relationship from the first day I met her and all of your family. And your community, all of you who are joining us tonight, you've embraced our melanoma program, and we feel so proud to work with all of you. So if we could all raise our glass, and I want to toast to Tara, to her legacy, to her vision, and we will beat this one day. To Tara.
Hi, I'm Dr. Thara Mitchell, and I'm a medical oncologist at Penn Medicine's Abramson Cancer Center. I've been taking care of melanoma patients at Penn for almost 10 years, and I'm so grateful to be part of such a collaborative team. The Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation has supported my research from the very beginning, and it has been so meaningful to have your community alongside us on this journey. I'd like to share a little bit of our research and the work we do and how your foundation has made such an impact and such an important difference in melanoma research at Penn. When I was first starting out at Penn almost 10 years ago, we started a clinical trial to start to learn how patients' bodies and immune systems responded to PD-1 blocking drugs, which were brand new at that time. We knew that not all patients were benefiting, and we wanted to learn more about what made the drug work, why it worked in some patients and not in others, so that we could drive the field forward and help more patients. We started by collecting blood samples from patients who we were seeing at Penn's Abramson Cancer Center for treatment for melanoma. And Tara was actually one of those patients on the very first study. She volunteered eagerly to participate in this clinical trial in which we would draw blood samples in patients that we were seeing in the clinic. What we learned from that study, from the blood analysis, was that patients who were getting PD-1 blockade treatment were getting a big peak in their immune system response after just one dose of therapy. This was brand new information at the time because the thinking had always been that immunotherapy took a long time to work. And from the information we gained from that study, we created a clinical trial to treat patients with one dose of PD-1 blockade, followed by surgery for melanoma that could be surgically resected. What we learned from that study was that almost a third of patients, after just a single dose of treatment, had complete elimination of all of their cancer. At the time of surgery, there was no living cancer remaining in these patients. And those patients have gone on to live cancer-free since the start of that study, some of them reaching greater than 5 years now from the first dose of therapy and remaining cancer-free and done with any treatment. These remarkable results led us to ask the question, how can we improve outcomes in even more of our patients? So we created a second clinical trial in which we now personalize therapy according to the surgical pathologic response after a single dose. That's where we are now. We're continuously aiming to improve outcomes in our patients with melanoma. And these homegrown investigator-initiated studies that have been conducted solely at Penn wouldn't be possible without the support of the Tara Miller organization. So I thank you, and I really want to remember and commemorate Tara's profound commitment to ensuring that we could do better for our patients with melanoma, and that's exactly what this team aims to do.
This year, the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation supported my research studying skin adverse reactions related to immunotherapy, specifically in melanoma patients. With the support of the foundation, we were able to initiate a multi-institutional study encompassing major academic and cancer centers around the country in order to look at the relationship between the presence of skin adverse reactions and tumor responses to immunotherapy in our melanoma patients. We were also able to investigate the timing of these reactions in a larger patient population, which we hope will help us to refine management going forward. We all know that melanoma presents challenges on multiple fronts, and I want to thank all of you for helping us to make real progress in this area. I hope Tara continues to be proud of all that we do in her name. Thank you.
Together, over the past 6 years, we've been able to precisely define and understand the immune response to PD-1 blockade in melanoma in terms of the timing of it, what actually happens, what type of immune response it induces, as well as what determines some of the clinical responses versus clinical resistance. Now, going forward, I want to tackle the next series of questions in trying to raise the ceiling for the efficacy of immunotherapy in melanoma.
The Tara Miller Foundation has supported our research related to developing a personalized melanoma vaccine. We are currently leading a phase 1 clinical trial to help patients who do not respond to current immunotherapies. This early study examines the safety and tolerability of pairing a vaccine personalized with the patient's own white blood cells with pembrolizumab to elicit an effective immune response. Tara's memory and your community energize us every day and I hope that you're all doing well during this difficult time.
This past year, the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation supported my research into how a melanoma patient's microbiome may affect their potential response to immunotherapy. We found that receipt of antibiotics can have a profound impact on both the response to therapy as well as survival, and also the likelihood of these patients developing severe treatment-related side effects. We hypothesize that this is related to how the receipt of antibiotics causes a shift in the microbiome. And we're currently looking at blood specimens of these melanoma patients to see if we can identify a soluble factor that may mediate this differential response. While I didn't have the opportunity to meet Tara personally, it is clear that our whole team takes her directive to heart. So I would like to thank you very much for your ongoing support, and I wish you all the best and stay safe and healthy.
Hope you've enjoyed the program so far tonight. Now we'd like to share some special messages we've received toasting Tara. Cheers, everyone.
Hi, my name is Tracy Callahan, and I'm a 4-time melanoma survivor. I met the Miller family through the Melanoma Research Alliance about 5 years ago. I have been so impressed with the amount of money that they've raised and the amazing research that they have funded. Every single day, they are making an impact on the lives of so many people affected by advanced melanoma. I am toasting to Tara tonight because she has saved more lives. Her family, in her honor, continues to work hard, fund incredibly important research, and they are ultimately impacting the daily lives of so many people that they've never met. I hope that you too choose to raise a glass, to toast to Tara, and to support this unbelievable effort this family is doing. Because of the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation and Tara's vision and Make the Best of It, countless lives are being saved.
We are toasting Tara tonight, and we are toasting Tara because her legacy inspires us every single day. The legacy and the vision that she had to find a cure for the disease that took her own life, it inspires us every day and makes her miss her more and more every day. Tara, here's to you.
To Tara.
To Tara.
I'm toasting Tara in honor of the inspiration that she was and in celebration of the lives she has saved. Tara was diagnosed at only 28 years old. Instead of saying, "Why me?" I'm meant to be beginning my law career and getting married and partying with my friends. She instead chose to channel her charisma, her incredible sense of humor, and an insane ability to rally everyone around her towards a cause and spend the remainder of her life working towards improving the condition for those with melanoma. I support the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation so that there are more melanoma survivors. This is a family and a community who has managed to raise millions of dollars, and none of that goes towards their considerable time and effort and dedication. It all goes directly to the cause. How could I not support TMMF?
I am toasting Tara for her incredible bravery and courage, for her concern for others, and the tremendous impact she's had on my life and so many other patients' lives. Thank you so much for your spirit. We will never forget you. Cheers.
From my point of view, just inspirational what Tara was able to accomplish and really how she faced such adversity. And in spite of that, had the presence of mind to be more concerned about how she didn't want this to happen to other people. And I think that's something that we all can think about in our own lives.
I feel her, I see her through her twin sister Lauren, through Christy, through her parents, and I have listened to her videos, read her blog, and when they talk about Tara as being selfless and full of love and passion, I can see it easily through her words and through her voice.
Thank you, Tara, and the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation for funding the research to find a cure for melanoma. Tara's bravery, undaunting spirit has paved the way to find a cure for this awful, awful disease and make it better for everyone else. Make the best of it.
I support the Miller family and the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation because they have restlessly and unrelentingly carried on Tara's mission to end melanoma suffering and death. I will raise a glass to my fellow patient in honor of her spirit to make the best of it. Words that have guided me as a survivor and advocate to bring her spirit to patients battling melanoma everywhere and to those people who are trying to cure it.
I toast with Tara because she was always making sure that everyone was having fun and making the best of every circumstance. And I donate to the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation because I really like that 100% of all the money raised goes directly towards research. Cheers.
Hi, everyone. I guess this is the BASH COVID-19 style. Well, tonight I am toasting Tara because 6 years later, it's still hard to believe that she's not here with us. Tara was an inspiration to so many. While battling her melanoma diagnosis with grace, courage, and that special Tara humor, she established the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation and provided a clear direction for its purpose: to improve the odds for melanoma patients and to find a cure. To date, her foundation has raised millions of dollars, which is funding successful research, leading to better treatment options, and improving the odds for melanoma patients. Thank you, Tara, for your vision and for showing us how to make the best of it. You will be in our hearts forever. Cheers.
Jack and I want to toast Tara tonight and remember her for her spirit, her strength, and her ever-enduring humor. She was a remarkable young woman who always found the fun and adventure in everything she did, even as she fought to survive. I personally knew her before and after her diagnosis, and she never changed. She was happy, vibrant, fun-loving, and funny. She laughed about losing her hair and wore a baseball cap with fake hair attached. She searched the internet for t-shirts and funny sayings about what she was going through and wore these shirts all the time. But she never lost sight of her goal to find a cure so that no one would ever have to endure what she and her family were going through. We toast Tara and her family for all they have done and all they continue to do to make this horrible disease go away. Here's to you, Tara, and your family. May you continue in your search for a cure, and may you find what you're looking for.
Here. All the best to Tara and the Millers.
Toasting Tara because we love to remember the amazing outlook she had on life and to always make the best of it.
And seeing her dreams come to fruition with her foundation and the difference it's made in so many lives with Penn. Another reason why we continue to support year in and year out.
To Tara.
To Tara.
We were so lucky to get to spend time with Aunt Tara while she was in Houston getting her treatment. Even though she always didn't feel well, she would always make the best of it.
She would always come to the Cassings game with us.
She would never miss our soccer games.
She will always bring us cupcakes.
And she would always go to the parties and get all dressed up and go to the events with my mom and dad. We love you, and Tara, and we miss you every day. Love you.
So yesterday was a pretty rainy and gloomy day, and I was walking home, I was drenched, and I came around the corner, and there's a 3-year-old boy that lives on my street. And I saw the dad standing kind of right in front of this alley, holding an umbrella, kind of grumpy, and he was calling to his son, and out of nowhere, the little boy comes skipping out of the alley, splashing in the puddles, having the time of his life in the pouring rain. And the only thing that flashed through my mind was Tara. So cheers to Tara for teaching us how to dance in the rain and live life to its fullest. Cheers.
I had the honor and privilege of having Tara serve as my next to last judicial law clerk during the court term of September 1st, 2012 until she became ill in August of 2013. Most of you here tonight are quite familiar with Tara's incredible qualities as a person. More specifically, her strength and courage in the face of overwhelming odds, her warmth and kindness, and her generosity and consideration of others, all of which played a large role in the creation of the Tara Miller Melanoma Foundation. But what some of you might not know is that Tara was a brilliant young attorney and one of our most outstanding law clerks. In fact, during our nearly 1 year together, Tara and I, by sheer luck or bad luck of the draw, faced some of the most complex and challenging decisions and cases in all of Atlantic County. Among those, one involved the quickly spread fire at Borgata's Water Club as it was being built. The lawsuit featured more than 20 defendants, each of whom was represented by different top-rated law firms, as too were the plaintiffs, both Borgata and the insurer, Zurich. In late 2019, one of the lead defense lawyers involved had asked me to conduct a mediation. When he and I were alone, he said to me, and I'm going to quote him, "Judge, I have to both thank and congratulate you for issuing some of the wisest and most well-reasoned decisions and opinions in that case which I have ever read." And all of the attorneys felt the same way. And I then said to him, "Well, Bill, in all honesty, the real author of probably 90% of the content of those opinions was actually a gifted young law clerk named Tara Miller." And that was the absolute truth. So I proudly and lovingly toast you tonight, Tara, for being both the phenomenal person you were, but also for your legal acumen, which made me look so knowledgeable and articulate, at least for your year.
Toasting Tara tonight in hopes that one day Taylor will be able to tell people that she was named after the person who helped cure melanoma.
Again, this concludes our event tonight. We thank everybody for participating. We thank the people who donated. We thank people who spent their time listening to this. We thank the people who were on our committee and the people who made this production possible. Our job now is to work to save the other 50%. So let's get together and try to find the research so we can all not have these events anymore. I want to thank everybody for participating tonight, for donating tonight, for donating their time, and the committee for helping us. We cannot thank everybody enough. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hope to see you at the Tropicana next June, and hopefully that'll be our last event. Thank you so much.